Home today. Today we're going to talk about multiple representations of motion. So when I first started teaching, I didn't used to do this. I would do just like grass method. But now I can actually started doing multiple representations a couple years ago, and it's probably one of the most fundamental changes I've made to my practice and the best things I've ever done. So with multiple representations of motion, a lot of times you're going to be looking at doing things like not just motion graphs and free body diagrams, but also things including motion diagrams. So motion diagrams are really similar to ticker tape, so this would be an example of a motion diagram, and then these are the related motion graphs that go with it. So for motion diagram introduction, normally what I do is do a lab that's called the sugar drop lab. So I'll attach that in the things below. And essentially what you're going to do is turn your students into human ticker timers. So what you're going to do is find some space. So I felt some space here. You're going to find things to drop. So I typically use sugar packets. I found an old box of Splenda in my house, so I was able to do that. If you don't have sugar packets at home, you can also do things like fill clean socks with rice, and then you could use them later. Essentially what you want is something that when you drop it on the floor, it'll stay in that position and kind of mark where you were at that moment in time. So what you're going to do is you're going to make a starting line. So for example, maybe you'll throw down a book or something as something that you are going to always start from. And then what you're going to do for the lab is it's going to have someone else, so you'll need another person, and they're going to be looking at a timer, and they're going to tell you every 2 seconds the word drop. The first time you do this is you're going to walk really slow, so you'll mark your initial position as starting, and then you'll just start walking slow, and then every 2 seconds you'll drop, drop, drop. And what's kind of nice about this is that I can measure the distance between where I started and my next dot. And when I get those distances, I can compare those distances every time. And then it's okay. Tilly, do you want to get out of the screenshot? Or no? No? Okay. Just ignore my cat right now. So what I can do is I can measure the distances between these 2 packets, and then I can graph that. So I can either mark those positions as a motion diagram, or I can also do it as a graph. An extension, if you haven't come across Chris Meyer's stuff, he does a lot of really cool interactive, engaging, inquiry-based physics. And a lot of times he's basing motion diagrams as one of his things. And in classes, then what we'll be able to use is motion sensors to be able to graph our data. So what I was thinking is you can actually use this as a way to graph your data. So for example, in an activity, if it said for you were to start walking slowly, stand still for a few minutes, and then walk quickly, we can use these to mark our position over time and then make a graph of it and then compare to see if it matches our predictions. So if I told you to walk forward slowly, stand still for 2 seconds, and then walk backwards quickly, establish your starting line, and then what you would do is do your packet. So walk forward. First you would predict what you think your motion graph would look like. Then what we would do is then just start mapping it out. So then I would do so walking slowly, stand still, and then walk back fast. So then what you're going to do is measure the distances then from your first packet, measure the distance to the second one, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, and then you'll be able to make a graph out of those positions, and then you'll be able to prove your predictions and check out slopes of lines and all that kind of stuff. So I'll link Chris Meyer's stuff and all the motion diagram and graphing stuff underneath, and I hope you have a great time today doing physics at home.